Why, hello there. A Knife's Tale here. I hope you're having a good day. I'm going to bring you today a review of this Andre de Villiers Alpha. And yeah, this is a freaking huge knife. As you can see, this is a 2020 model. 2020 model. 2022. Alright. It is a button lock, and it is one hell of a strikingly big knife, as Andre de Villiers typically does, ADV. Just to kind of get it centered, it's already fallen all over the edge of my my pad here. So let's jump into the specs of this thing and get talking about this, because there's quite a bit to say. There's quite a bit going on here. Blade length is, I mean, if you want to go to here, which is the technically the absolute earliest point of the handle, you still have 4 inches and over a quarter, about 4 3/8. And to the actual, like, the majority of the start of the handle, you have in total 4.5 inches with over 4 inches of blade. Or cutting edge, is what I'm trying to say. Overall, this is 9 inches and 7/8 long, and I'll give you both this, which is 5.5, and this, which is just a little over 5 3/8. Yeah, it's a big frickin' knife. That's what an ADV does. And yeah, you either love it or you don't. It's a big giant titan. It is. It really is. Why did I close it? I have no idea. We're making our comparisons to our large and small knife, the Elementum and Conspirator. Not large, full size Conspirator, small Elementum. This is an extra large knife. What else can I say about that? This does not just go into the territory of large. This is a proper extra large knife. It's big. It's big in every way, shape, or form. It's tall. It's thick. It's a big freaking knife. I mean, large is typically what I cut off at. You can get away with large at almost up to 4 inches of blade if it's got a smaller package. This, not so much. This is full on extra large. And to suit that, you have a very actually, I mean, not to suit that. Kind of counterintuitively, you have a very prescriptive grip here. But I mean, if your fingers are that big, you can probably, if you really can't fit your back 2 fingers into this thing, which is surprising, would be surprising for most people, considering I still have room. My hands aren't that, I mean, my fingers are stubby in length, but they're not that, it's not that tiny of a knuckle area. You could probably go over here. Maybe this knife just wouldn't be for you if you can't fit your hands in this thing, but you'd have to be pretty darn big. You get more than 2 AA batteries just in here, or just about 2 AA batteries on the dot. And as you can see, like, the full width of my knuckles fitting in there. Yeah, it's big, but you're definitely locked into a very prescriptive grip, as I said. I'm just repeating myself now for no reason. Let's get the weight on this thing. Let's start off with weight. That should be funny, because it's not light. 8 ounces. Yes, this is a pocket anchor. This is definitely approaching the limitation. I've carried it. I like it. I do, but yeah, it's not a lightweight knife. Though not a lightweight knife. There's no internal milling for further weight reduction under this thing. I mean, you've got some for the scales, but yeah. However, I will say, I don't know if it's just because the entire thing is so big that it sort of shifts your perspective on it, but it doesn't feel that heavy in hand. The balance point is right there. It feels more nimble than you'd think, which is something I didn't think I'd find myself saying about it, but it is. Hardware check. What are we actually looking at here? I have no idea. Is that... No. Okay, it's a T15 pivot, and everything else looks to be T8. Big, deep T8s. Yeah, everything else is T8. Everything, yes. Lots of them. There are quite a few in there, but they're T8. So T15 and T8. Actually, I haven't adjusted this thing in a long time. Oh, yeah, it needs a tiny bit of a... There's a tiny bit of up and down that's developed in this knife. Just a hair. But it's there. It didn't come with that. But that can be something that button locks do, right? I mean, that's it's not a capture pivot either. I forgot about that. Yeah, the side-to-side play, there's none. It sounds like I mean, coming out. Jesus. But there's the tiniest hint of up and down, and that has developed. I got this directly from Andre de Villiers. Messaged him, had my chosen finish and inlays done, so... Yeah, this is... I don't know if this would be considered a semi-custom? Or mid-tech? I mean, he definitely swapped out the inlays and a specific frame. I don't know exactly what this would be considered. Maybe a full-on mid-tech? Maybe it's just a production with just some hand elements? Wait. Oh, no, there it is. Okay. I went back here, and there's no up and down play here, but if you pull on right here, you can just get the tiniest hint right at the stop pin. Thickness. She thick. 586 thousandths, well over half an inch. Though not the thickest knife ever. I mean, it could have been thicker, especially considering the blade stock is 173 thousandths. And behind the edge is going to surprise people because it is not as horrifically thick as you might think it would be for that blade stock. 16 thousandths on the rear recurve, because it's got that. And it's a bit thicker up here. Oh, I'm too far into the knife. That's a problem. 17 thousandths. Yeah, it's almost a full flat grind. It's very tall, and yeah, it gets a bit thicker at the tip. You can kind of see how thick the tip is. But back here, it's not the thickest knife. Like, this thing is a very reasonable thickness behind the edge, which is the only reasonable thing on this knife. Where was I? I am done on the specs, so let's just talk about this giant freaking button lock. It's got a pretty dramatic blade. Not all of them had the recurve, but I don't know. I just thought it looked cooler with the recurve, so I wanted to find one that had a recurve, and yeah, when I made contact with ADV through, I think he posted this one on Instagram, was like, hey, if anybody wants it, contact me, and we can put in what you want. I think this originally had different color scales in there. That's where I got it. You can find these things, different retailers, some of them carry them. Or sometimes you just sort of go to his Instagram, or I think it leads to his website, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe I'll put a link in, who knows. But, yeah, it's a big drop point blade with a harpoon swedge up front. But it's a recurve, and it's not dual ground recurve, it's just a solid grind recurve, which is very interesting and very different looking, in my opinion. I wouldn't mind the compound grind, but even if it doesn't have it, it's still pretty cool looking. Big, surprisingly good access to the tip. Good amount of belly. Very sharp. I will admit, this knife is very sharp. Even though the edge feels like it needs a touch-up, it's got a little bit of roughness going on there because I have used it. Not as much back here. It's much smoother back here along the edge. But it's still surprisingly aggressive, which is nice. The name, Alpha. I mean, if it was a different name, I wouldn't mind. Would I like to see it a little bit higher and smaller? Sure, but I'm not going to be upset about something that's going to be just... I mean, it's already hitting you in the face, so why not? All right. This one is an S35VN blade steel, 2020. Two, as I said, a very interesting sort of take on the opening hole. He may actually have to do that just so Spyderco doesn't get on his case, because, you know, can't have the opening hole with... it should be just an opening hole. There is jimping on the back of the spine. It's not really doing anything, maybe in gloves, but, I mean, it's also not something that I even need, especially considering most of my finger contact's back here. So, yeah. Gigantic sharpening tool, and the plunge grind is insane. Like, this is perfect. This is basically perfect. This is the sharpening tool. The plunge grind stops here. You have infinite life. You do. I mean, you'll have a thick knife that won't cut before you probably run out of actual sharpening tool, which is lovely to see. You have a big old flipper with a hole, which I assume is to reduce some weight, with some jimping on it. The jimping is not the most aggressive, but it does provide traction, and as you can see, it definitely works for the flip. And it definitely works for that reverse flick, too, with that big giant hole in there. Even though part of it is sort of covered by the handle, it's a big enough area that, yeah, it gets in there. And the noise is kind of... it definitely tings. I haven't carried this one in a while. I'll have to carry it again because I'm remembering the entertainment and joy that you get out of carrying this stupid thing. Big button lock. There is some G10 that has taken a little bit of pocket damage from something over the course of my carrying it, or maybe that's a little epoxy to it. I don't know what that is. But it is an inlay into the button. Big old button that sits proud. This is a secondary lock that does, in fact, work in both the open and close position, which is nice. And, I mean, yeah, there's that little tiny bit of up and down, but you also have a secondary lock, so I'm not too worried about this thing. The up and down, again, did not come with the knife. It has developed that over a little bit of time. It's not exactly the newest of knives, and it, it's only up here. I can't get it to do it at all back here, but when you pull on up here, you can feel just this tiniest little hint of up and down. I'm thinking it's pretty solid and perfectly fine. A lot of button locks do have that, or a little bit of something, some way. I'm not too upset about it. I think this one, yeah, I'm not too upset. I do wish the pivot was captive, but it's not, so yeah, whatever. Have good tools, have two of these, usually a good idea. For the drivers and the bits, what are we looking at on the handle? We're looking at titanium, multi-finished titanium. You've got sort of this blasted area, you've got this satin, but very polished satin, reflective flats, a lot of sort of industrial, kind of futuristic almost styling going on here. You have a big old backspacer with a lanyard loop at the back end. You have a pocket clip that is kind of crazy. It's big, it's thick, it's wide. It in fact has a roller underneath. You can see it right there. Come on. Yeah. This is a roller to roll in and out of the pocket. It has surprisingly decent flex and very good retention. Also finished with that two-tone kind of finish. Very polished, and interestingly enough, you have like a polished satin, but on the edges here, you have just almost a straight up polish. There's a lot going on here. The blade is centered. The tip is the tiniest bit off center on this particular one. I think that's just a slight grind thing going on right at the tip. Doesn't really bother me too much, especially being more of a made-to-order sort of knife. It's got a little bit of hand finishing and stuff going on in there. Maybe even considered a mid-tech, I don't know. But like, it's pretty minimal, and honestly, it may come out with a sharpening. It looks like one side's got a deeper, like, angle at the tip, so it might be more centered than I think. Which is perfectly fine with me. Good, right? Ergonomically, it's really quite good. I mean, it's huge, it's big, it's thick. I mean, you can feel this big old thick pocket clip. You basically got this much to grab onto here. But it is comfortable. It is very rounded. It is very softened. It is very nice. The prescriptive grip, I mean, I don't see why that needs to be there. Maybe just open that up so you can get in there. But, it's big enough that you're probably not going to have trouble fitting in there, so who cares, right? This is very much a do or don't like it sort of style and knife. It is expensive. This thing was over $400, but then again, it's a freaking tank. You're getting a ton of steel, you're getting a ton of titanium, you're getting some sort of made-to-order level kind of execution here. Yeah, it's going to be expensive. It's kind of doing everything. It's got a freaking screwed in, which that looks like a T6, but screwed in roller under the pocket clip. I mean, just, yeah, internally mounted pocket clip. This thing is crazy and fun and big, and I like it. And there are definitely enough. He has some variations of models with some variations of blade shapes, some interesting things like a big butcher thing, big weird machete-looking butcher-ass thing. They're all huge. They're all crazy. They're all excessive. They're over the top. They're super heavy-duty. But if that's your thing, if that's your aesthetic, or even if it's not necessarily usually your thing, and you just find this striking and interesting, I totally get it, right? That's what it is for me. I don't have a ton of knives that are like this. I have, like, maybe 3 that are 4, maybe, that are super crazy big. And, it's just, this is a fun one. And enjoyable. And it does work. Like I said, I have carried it. It is, for being as heavy, it is surprisingly pocketable. I mean, it takes up a lot of room, it's heavy, make sure you have the right pants on, but it's also got a surprisingly good geometry for this big, giant, thick thing. So, yeah, you could definitely be, like, mainstaying this thing, I suppose you could say. If you really wanted to, you could do it. No problem. I will say Andre de Villiers also has some knives. They're not all button locks. He does have frame locks and stuff as well. Has a couple integrals. Has some really crazy structured things that go up to like $600 some. That's the integral one, I believe. They're pretty cool. They're pretty crazy. I like it. It's just fun. So yeah, this is actually a pretty good knife overall. And what the hell is that noise? I don't like the sound of that. So I'm going to go check on what that is and call things a day here. Like, subscribe, comment, you know, the deal. Hopefully you got some enjoyment out of seeing this crazy thing. I love it, just for what it is. And, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but obviously it is something that exists for people. So, someone likes them, and I happen to fall in that category. So I will see you guys later. Have a great day. I'm out.